split, and we're gonna do the same thing, and this is the same skill we're doing for front walkovers and back walkovers as well. I just don't shake you for 10 seconds. All right, let's do a handstand split. And we're gonna go 10, bring that back leg up for me. 9, yes, 8, 7, 6, how to point those toes, yes. As soon as our toes point, y'all see all those muscles start flexing. That's what we're looking for. So much easier for the whole. That was great. You were ready for that either. I'm sorry. But the reason why I like handstand splits, front walkovers, back walkovers, your kids have to pass through that handstand split. So now, one thing to keep in mind, I'm gonna have to do a handstand again, really quick. One thing I like to really try to focus on when these kids are in their handstands is gonna be their head placement. We don't want them looking directly at the back of the floor. We definitely don't want them looking at the front of the floor. But if they can just kind of spot their hands, keeping their head in a neutral position, it's definitely gonna help. And the best way to train that is lay on your belly for me. Together and reach out, so flat hands, chin up, just like that. This is a good way to get the kids to understand what their handstand position should look like and what it should feel like. Just have them lay down in a handstand position. All right, how about? So now, once they get comfortable with what that feels like, laying down on the ground, we're gonna try to mimic that same thing when we're in that handstand. Just having them understand where their head should be, where their hands should be, and how their body should be the whole way. Another thing that I like working on also with all of my fundamentals classes as far as a warm up, and these are all things that I incorporate in my warm up before we even get started with the class. Next, all right, which leg do you do your cartwheel with? Left leg. I do put your right knee on the ground, left leg up. And this makes my life so much easier. They have no idea what I'm about to have them do, so we can actually kind of see how all of this stuff kind of plays out. All right, arms up by your ears. Try to make sure this back leg stays straight. This is gonna be your push-off leg. So one thing is here, I'm gonna have you lift this leg up off the ground, put it back on the floor. And then whenever you're ready, just pick it up, put it back down. But don't bend it, or don't straighten it. So we're gonna go from here, you wanna lift, back to the floor. Boom, that's it. And making sure her arms are here, and just give it a nice strong lift. We're gonna do 5 in a row. Don't let your heel touch. Keep reaching up, we gotta keep that balance. Yeah. Just like that. Good. She has to stay tight in her core to make this work. This is all of your positions from your cartwheels, round the front walk, everything. Just understanding what our body needs to be doing while we're doing all of these flips. Right, you can hop up. So y'all know sometimes we get these kids, and they start telling, they be like going this way, they'll round off and end up going this way. That's gonna have everything to do with the lack of the core that they have. And if they can be as strong as they want up top, as strong as they want down bottom, but if they're not strong in the core, the tumbling is just gonna be so much harder to be able to do. So this drill is definitely helping her with her hurdle, and it's gonna end up helping her with her reach going into her round-offs also. All right, now, next thing I'm gonna have you do, I'm gonna have you go to a lunge. Y'all, make sure you got that leg for me. Bring up that leg close to you. Yup, straighten out more than that. Yeah, now reach up for the reach. As soon as she starts reaching, all of her balance checks goes away. Go ahead and relax your arms and stay in that lunge. This is gonna be so much harder for her to control. It's the same thing when your kids are doing these front walkovers, cartwheels, round dog, and they cannot stay on a straight line. Let's make sure we're watching what their hands are doing. And so hand placements is one thing that I like to focus on too, and all of this goes back to your handstands and the lunges that she was doing before. It's just helping her stay in her straight line the whole way through. Before we even start tumbling, we're already getting the body used to going in a straight line. All right, you right there. Your turn. All right, one last thing I like doing with all of my beginners. We're just gonna go to a hurdle leg. We're gonna hold for 5 seconds, and we're gonna reach out to a lunge. We're gonna hold it for 5 seconds. Right? So now, most important is your arm tucking your feet. Try to keep this protected. All right, go ahead, go to a lunge. 5, 4, 3, 2, and reaching for the wall and stretch. 5, 4, 3, for that wall, and let's try to put a hump in our back if we could. Right there. Yes, ma'am. Still wants to go there. Still looking for the wall. We want to be in this position. We don't want to stay here because now we're leading with the hips, and now it's going to be so much harder. We want to lead with our hands, so we let our hands take heels forward. Yes, then go back to your lunge. Yes. A little bit higher. Good, like that. That's what we want. That is your reach going into your football around the park, whatever you're doing forward, okay? All right, come on out. All right, we'll do that whole thing one more time. Holding it for 5 seconds. I want a nice long reach. And knees up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and give me a reach. 1, 2, 3, and relax. Yes, ma'am. All right, now, once again, we can do these warm-ups on the line. Like if you got a panel like this at the gym, you only got a strip or two, they can do all of these drills going down the line, back to back. Just kind of get you a little warm-up going. And go down the line and come back up the line. These are just, like I say, a few of the warm-up drills that I do. And then now we'll actually get a water break after we do about a 10-minute warm-up. Then we'll get into our standing time. And when we do our standing time, now I like to break the kids up in groups. That way I can actually focus on maybe 2 or 3 kids at a time and not try to focus on 5 or 6 kids at one time. And then we'll do standing time. Now when I set up my standing time, we'll do different stations, and each station is going to be set up for something different within the skill we're working on. So if we're working on back walkovers, we'll set up 5 different, 3 different, 4 different circuits that all incorporate drills for those back walkovers. And it might specify for something different. One might work on the hip of the leg. One might work on the hip lift. One might work on the handstand. But that way each kid is still being able to work some part of that without you having to keep hands on. And then you can rotate every 5 minutes. I'm going to steal one of these power mats. How does everybody with front walkover do this? Is that one of the hardest skills to do or one of the easiest skills? So we're going to move on into some front walkovers. I'm going to show y'all a couple of drills that I do to kind of help my kids overcome these. I'll rush that one. Step up like you're ready. Come on through. All right, so the handstand split is something we warmed up with, so your kids can already be fresh with that. Just get your front walk over there. Put your right leg. Yo, right here, you're gonna do a handstand split. So now when she does this handstand split, I'm hoping everybody has a kind of mat in their gym. I know in most gyms when we start off, it's about all we can get. So that's why I really want to do all of these drills that incorporate power mats. I didn't want to bring out the boulders and the cheese mats. I know everybody don't have those. But we're going to do a handstand split. The reason why I got her starting like this is because I want her to forcefully reach to the end of this mat. Her reaching is helping her stretch her body out, okay? Handstand split, y'all remember what we talked about on the head placement. Good. Do it one more time. And if the kid has a really good handstand split, that was really good. We'll do that one more time. It should just flow into her front walk. And if you're actually using the power mats where you're not having to hold so much weight, her handstand split should take her right into her front walk. If that handstand split is done correctly. Now, if she does this handstand split and her head is sticking out too far, what's going to happen is her feet are going to do it close to this mat. She's going to do it angle. Or where I see a lot of kids doing it, as soon as their hand touches the floor, they tuck their head like a turtle. And as soon as they tuck their head all the way down their butt, down on their back, trying to figure out why they can't stand up. So now, having to keep that chin up in that same, you didn't put one more time. Arms up and your hands in position. So look where her head is now while she's on the floor. That's where we're going to want her head at when she's coming into her front walkover and coming out of her front walkover. And that's one thing that I really like to try to put emphasis on. When you land your front walkover this time, I want you to land in a lunge. We're looking at the foot. One foot on. I'm just following it like I'm just doing something crazy. Just all right. Bring it back. All right, now, the reason why I like stressing the head being here for the lunge is now your hands are in charge, right? So now when we come out of our front walkover, the next skill we can do, round off, cartwheel, a front handspring, anything, but we can't do it from this position. So I know y'all said a lot of kids, they be like, ooh, I need my front walk. It's not gonna work. We're not gonna do anything out of it. If we can lead with our hands, now we can follow those hands right into our next skill. Like I said, another front walk over, a front handspring, or round off or whatever. All right, thank you, man. Next. All right, one more thing that I like to do with my front walk over kids. On this one, we're gonna do a bridge. Your hands are going to be on this mat. And this is just to train the kids on how to get up out of their front walkover. Like I say, this head coming up is going to be the number one thing to keep in mind. But this one, we can do the bridge. But I can. Look like all kind of bones popping. There you go. Good. All right, so now from here, I'm going to make sure you're watching your hands the whole time. And I'm grabbing her shoulders. That way I'm not putting pressure on any part of her body and letting her follow her hands all the way through. Start one more time. Boom. She's there, keeping the head out, watching the hands through. Yeah. So now when y'all are doing these drills, y'all gonna see a lot of kids, as soon as you get the weight out of their hands, you're gonna see their face. Please put emphasis on them keeping their head back. That way they're forced to follow their hands. And they can use their hands to take the next skill. Thank you, man. All right, we're going to get into one more skill, and that's going to be our Valdez. Valdez, let's see it. It doesn't matter. That is so beautiful. All right, now, I have to ask this question just because I see so much controversy, right? Do y'all do same foot, same hand, or do y'all do opposite foot, opposite hand? I like that. She said they let the athlete decide. And I like that too. And the reason why I said that is going to be a personal preference, right? Because technically, using either hand is only a variation of the Valdez. There is no right way or right hand or right leg or wrong leg for a Valdez. It's literally personal preference, right? So just keep that in mind. So if the kid does it with the right hand, that's great. If they does it with the left hand, right foot, it's fine too, as long as they're getting the skill over. Yes, ma'am. Now, her question was, what about on the score sheet? I don't judge, so I couldn't say how that works. But I can say if you're doing it out there, if they're doing the same hand, or they're doing the opposite hand, it's going to look different. So that's going to be what you do as far as the coach on how to do it. Right. And I feel that too. But it just looks the same. Once again, I'm not a judge, so I'm not sure. Yes, sir.
We just came from the judges' discussion.
Yes, sir.
That question came up, and the judge said on the score sheet, it doesn't matter as long as the team looks the same doing it.
Right, the skill is the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said the judges don't really, they're not judging.
And they really,
I
I feel like they would have a hard time trying to nitpick that. You know what I mean? It's almost like trying to get everybody to go with the left leg in a round off, or the same leg for a front walk. But one thing that I like to do, because I know Valdez are one of those harder skills for level one that everybody loves to do. Go ahead and go see where Valdez is. When I'm going to, she already has a Valdez, but I'm going to spot her as if she didn't have one. Don't do anything. Just do the Valdez like you normally would. What I would like to do is usually when I go lower, I like to grab this angle too. And the reason being, I don't want her to try to start putting weight on this leg as she's trying to get over for her Valdez. Which I know a lot of kids want to come from here and go straight to that bridge. So we're going to keep her from getting to that bridge by keeping the weight in this foot for her. So as soon as she gets to her bridge, we're going to kind of help lead her into her kickover, kind of help her understand the timing of that kick. Whenever you're ready, sister, I'm going off to you. Yeah. And I was actually there when she put her foot right out of my hand. That was great. That was fantastic. Do it one more time. Let's face that way. Y'all on this side. Sorry. We got time. All right. Also, let me bring it up and give us a couple kickover drills that I like to do as well. And this is for whether you're working a back bend kickover, a Valdez, back walkover, or whatever. Y'all can put up work. All right, what you making? Keep on with it. I gotta say it one more time. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get one with the least stuff on it. I'm sorry. Don't let your hands drop. Great. Yes, ma'am. That's nice. That's it. Yes, ma'am. Keeping the weight off the leg. Y'all see how these muscles are flexing right there? She is using these muscles to keep that weight off of that leg. That's hook on that head. I just got on this side with the same thing. I just want to make sure it's all hands. Praise on y'all and be like, oh, great. You know? Don't let them. Okay, so those for them to keep their chest up. And one thing I like to do is I always like to check to make sure that their ears are covered. I call this a tumble helmet, right? Nobody should be tumbling without their helmet on. So no kid should be going into tumbling like this, none of that. And I tell the kids, there's no reason for y'all to hurdle with y'all's helmet on and then take it off as soon as you saw it flipping. That's crazy. So, keeping the arms by the ears is going to be everything. I do it for time. That's what's on it. Booty. And just like I said, you can see all of these muscles flexing, y'all. These are the muscles that they're going to be needed for these kickoffs, whether it's the back walk or the back bend kickoff, the bridge kickoff. It does not matter. We're training those muscles to get stronger for our kick. Yeah, put you to work. All right, a couple more things. I have you lay on your back right here. Make sure you go there. Follow that one little straight point to the root with it. Boom. You can take your hand and you put it by your ears, you can put them on the clothes. I don't care what you do with them. Yep. So now from here, we're just going to lift our hips up, pushing off that bottom leg, and pointing that toe. Yes, ma'am. Bring that down. Moving 5 at your own pace. And what I really want you to focus on is pushing this knee and pushing these toes the whole way through. So give me 5 good ones. These are another drill that we like to use to help the kids focus on not only the leg lift, but the hip lift. I don't care how flexible your kid is. If she has no hip control, she ain't flipping. She ain't flipping. So we got to be able to engage the core to be able to get those hips off the ground because our hips make us flip. Thank you, ma'am. Nicely done. Any certain drills you guys are looking for in particular? Yes, ma'am. She was ready for that one.
Yes. Okay. So we have one of my athletes that we're trying to learn how to do a basketball from however, if you feel like a basketball, like she just, I think it just doesn't need one.
Right.
So what? Yeah. So like, what can you do to train the left leg to go with the right?
I can tell y'all this, and some people might say it's unorthodox, right? Like I said, one of y'all don't care who it is. We got 2 options. Unorthodox. Are you okay with spotting for that next one? So your two options, you can tie your shoes. Okay, just make sure you're sliding. I'm not gonna tie your shoes together, it's actually a little bit big. Or you can get you a t-shirt, roll it up, wrap it around the ankle, and then tie it and get it your same spot on. What this is gonna do is gonna force her to keep her feet together. Yeah, you just said she didn't use the back walk over the leg, so she just got it now. Relearn.
She can do it on both legs. Like she can do her back walk on the legs. When we do the back handspring, it's like she is ready to go, and then that leg is gonna go.
So you have to jump back to her, especially if you want to tie her feet together or tie their feet together. So if anything's freaking out, just make it over to that. Just have her jump, then on her back. That way she just can use the time to come over those feet. So the time to feet together is probably my number one go-to for just making sure you're smiling. Yes, sir.
When she's doing that, when she's doing that walkover, is she jumping and stepping and just leaving one foot on the floor, or is she? When she's doing the back, is she's leaving one foot on the floor, so it's like that walkover with jump, or is it like the other lady just landing behind?
We do not second. I can see what she was doing. She basically does her to go back, but it's like it looks like a step.
Pushes one foot to the front.
That's what she does.
And it's also what we call, she considers that a lot of kids who are afraid to jump back off of two legs, they would initially jump back off of one leg because in their mind is here, like a back walkover, and then they'll go. But when they start doing that, if you let them do it, and I know it was a real big pet peeve that Coach Deja had, she hates when people allow kids to do stuff like that because it's hard. Once they start doing it, it's hard to get them. They already made that habit down, so it's muscle memory and they can't undo it.
So that's exactly why the drills come into play with the jump back or the time of the season. Just kind of retraining the brain.
One of my junior coaches got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Help you adjust the back walkover?
Yep. Now, which part of the back walk up you want me to focus on? The beginning part?
Like going back, like doing their actual back bend and then kicking over.
Okay, definitely. I like that. Does any one of y'all not have a back walkover? All y'all have a back walkover? If y'all didn't have a back walkover, it would just make it so much easier. But whoever wants to go, just kind of go on with it. So one thing that I like to do is, especially when it's talking about timing for the back walkover, your kickoff. So as far as timing, that's what I like to take. Sorry about that. As far as timing for the kick, what I like to tell my athletes is when their hands are about 3 to 4 inches from the floor is the time it is for it to kick. Right? All right. So now you're going to have a lot of kids going through back issues if their hands are hitting the floor and then they're kicking. Right? So these are the kids who are like, oh, my back hurt. I don't know why my back keeps hurting. Because we're literally jarring the back every time we're doing it. So what I like to do to help with the timing, go ahead and take a dig. So a lot of kids like to try to feel comfortable with getting their hands to the floor first before they start lifting this leg. But I want them to start lifting this leg as soon as they start going back. And I also do not want the head to make them go back. I want their hands to take them back, right? So as her hands are coming back, her legs should be coming up. So go ahead and fall back. We're going to stop like halfway. So when she's in this position, her legs should still be up. Now when she gets to this position, is when the kick occurs, which is taking the weight out of her back and putting it into her shoulders for her. Here you go. But once again, if we let her hands hit before she initiates the kick, now she's stuck in a bridge, and now all of that pressure is in the lower back. Okay? So we don't want to do that. Yes, ma'am.
I have a separate-ish question. I have a couple of girls that when they're doing their back handspring, they end up like this. And I can't get them to get out of it.
Okay. That's going to be my level 2-3 class.
Oh, okay.
But that's just Russian is what I...
That's fine.
When I say Russian, that's like leaving the chat before.
Yes, they're like looping, but they're
Right.
not straight, so they end up, their head is this
So
far
that's
off
going
the
to be
floor.
that whole timing issue thing.
Okay.
So, especially if they're doing that, I like to start them with their arms up already. Now they can get the feel of the reach that they should be feeling when they're doing the back handspring. Now when they swing, they're actually waiting for their arms to get up to get that reach now. But if you're doing the level 2 class, we can go over that more. Yes, sir.
Do you have any tips or tricks on drills for it's my own kid that I don't know. She has no flexibility in her back. So bridges are just like the bane of our existence. So she wants her back wall, but like I've been stretching her for a year. I don't know like how to increase her flexibility back to make her bridges more comfortable so that she can start working back wall first. Are there any stretches or tricks that help?
I got some
increase
drills. She probably ain't going to like them. But they all hurt.
Not just focus on my shoulders. So like, if I can open up the shoulders song, have them like work on her shooting back and forwards and start out wide. And the more we do it, the more we get in. And then we do like around the world. But it really works. The one year that I tried for the stick is ready to
Sir, to help you out really quick. This is one thing that y'all can do to actually stretch your back. I'm gonna do it this way, and then I'm gonna pick you up. Separate your knees, arms to my ears. All right, so all she's gonna do, she's gonna go back into a grid, finding the mat. Once she finds the mat, she's gonna walk her hands all the way down to the floor. And then once she get both hands on the floor, she's gonna walk her way back up. Okay? And the further away they are from the wall, the easier it's gonna be for them. So if y'all want to get like a little Velcro strip, you can get like some chalk on the line or on the floor, whatever, to have a starting point. And then give them a personal goal to try to say, hey, let's beat this line this week, and just try to get her closer and closer to the mat to help out with that. But a wall will be more efficient than what I'm doing. Go ahead, Shorty. Are you ready? Try to find the mat. Once both hands gets on the floor, and then we're gonna walk back up. Yes, and then we'll start off like that, and then it's closer and closer, and it's gonna get worse and worse. But the flexibility is gonna start happening over time. And I would definitely make sure she's doing back flexibility outside of the gym too. It's not gonna happen once a week or twice a week. That's gonna be something she's gonna have to work on daily.
Yeah, I've started because it's my kid. So
Okay.
I stretch her every night.
What kind of stretches are you doing?
Legs. Like we have to do a stretching flex every night before bed. Like,
Are you doing upper back stretches or lower back
so
stretches?
I've been doing the thing where like I will sit on the floor and have my back up against my knees, and we'll like sit and watch an episode of something, and I'll set a timer. So I'm like, I'll do 3 minutes of her like this,
Right.
and me just opening up her shoulders and pulling them back. I've been doing this for 6 months.
Have you done reverse crunches? I can get some ideas.
Explain.
Oh, We gotta do the back knee and walk really quick. And then we'll do some reverse crunch. Come inside and do our bridge walk. And like I said earlier, just making sure everything is separated. Both feet are together. She started talking about that she went in the hospital. But her feet are separated. She's going to keep that balance. Go ahead, shoulders and everything good. Do it so fast. Good. Back up. Nice. Yes, ma'am. Reverse crunches. I'm back to you, sir. I'm sorry. You're gonna lay on your belly, and this is my fault. I'm sorry. You're gonna lay on your belly, face like this. Hips. You're gonna be her friend. Sit on your leg. Yes, ma'am. I'm sitting on her thighs. Not her knees. Alright, so now you gotta trust your friend back. Alright, so you're gonna go head behind your head. No. Behind your head. Alright. Alright, now we're gonna just drop to the floor and we're gonna pick our set back up. Reverse crunches are gonna help your athlete's lower back. These right here, and what we're looking for is these two muscles right here to tense up on her arch. That's how we know that back is stretching and working. Good. And thank you. What you got?
Okay, now for an athlete to start and then stop it. I like to make
I think it's beneficial, and depending on what you're using. Like I say, you incorporate it into one. That's great. That's one that's in your class. If you're doing this, yes, ma'am.
Like, it's not the crunch, but it's not the full 180 back
Right.
on. Do you have any tips on getting that leg to be that perfect straight leg and not like a straight-ish leg?
Straight dish. So now one thing that I like to try to put emphasis on is the kids pushing through their knee. And if you start telling kids to push their knees, like the only thing that's gonna make sense to them is pushing it down and go straight. So as they're moving over their back, walk over one direction, you go, say, hey, push through the knees, push through the toes. Just little things like that that would help. And any leg lift drills would be perfect. Let me have you come to a bridge. Which leg do you think I'm with? Left. Alright, so you're gonna do a bridge. We're trying to kick my hand 3 times. But you can only do a straight leg. Bridge, separate. And I wouldn't go really high at first. So it would be 3 kicks to try to find my hand with your kick over leg. Yep. Shoot. Yeah, all right, showing off now. But I would definitely start off small and not just make her do it. You come out. You got my back. But first, lift the leg a little bit straight leg. And then eventually, trying to get it higher and higher, making sure it's staying straight every time. Repetition is going to be everything. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question for like a cartwheel. I have one of my girls where her non-dominant leg, like almost like she forgets it's there. And it's just like completely like this.
Left behind?
Yes, and I've tried like the mat in between where she has to land one in front, one on the back. And we've tried to tell her like unicorn it and like, or rainbow it and stuff
Right.
like that. But just wondering if you have any other drills that I can try and get her working on.
For the cartwheel?
Yeah.
Just trying to get to the handstand position or the handstand split position. same way we did our front walkover drill. We do our cartwheel drill the same. Explain why we say that. Which way you cartwheel? Let go of the top. Arms back again. We're going to do a cartwheel, hands come all the way to the end. So now she's going to be forced to put all of her weight on this front leg, coming on this mat. So now, not that she's going to forget about the back leg, but the back leg has to follow the front leg, right? So once she pushes off this, go ahead and do a cartwheel. Once she pushes off of this front leg, the back leg
she's
has
got no
to
choice
follow
but to
it,
bring
right?
it with it. Okay.
Because she's putting more effort into this front leg now because it's elevated.
Okay.
So now we have to put weight in this leg to keep going, which now she's going to need this kick. Now she might crumble the first couple of times, but now she's going to understand what needs to happen.
Yeah, it's like she just leaves it like this. Like she
then-
just like forgets it's there.
We can start doing airbus kicks with those too.
Okay.
I usually do airbus kicks with my warm up too, even if they're starting here, just stepping and coming up to an airbus kick
Okay.
and back down, and just getting comfortable with getting that leg coming straight up. As
Okay.
it goes. And like I say, once the back leg comes up, the second one should follow if they're putting that muscle into it.
Okay.
It should.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problemo. All right, guys. Before we get out, any more questions before I go over some conditioning? Yeah, what you got? What you got? Talk to me. Yes, ma'am. Right, so now, I've had some parents upset with me in the past because their kid in front walker, different ways. I made the kid learn the front walker on the same day. Only because that front walker, they're going to use it for level 1 to 7. So if we skip it now, she's going to be trying that front walker and something level 3 is not big. So I'll go ahead and switch the front walker to leg and start training them on the front. And like I was saying earlier, these kids have a hard time coming out of their front walker. Most of the time, those kids can't trying to stand up out the front walker. They put them on the front walker. Head and say, this position and follow the hand, then it should stand up. Okay, I don't want us to think that conditioning is only meant for punishment, but conditioning is needed. It's needed for jumps, it's needed for tumbling, it's needed for dance, it's needed for everything. So one thing that I like to do is try to make my conditioning fun. If I make the conditioning fun, hopefully it doesn't stress the kids out as much. I need all y'all to say, y'all can all demonstrate these. All right, so what I like to call this, you can use this for conditioning or as a warm-up. I call it my animal warm-up, right? We come out here and all go one at a time. So the first thing I like to do is gorillas. And like I say, all of these conditioning drills are all animal related, but they're all full body workouts and they're all related to tumbling at some point, right? When we do our gorillas, I'm gonna demonstrate it and then y'all gonna have to go all the way down the line doing it. So a gorilla is gonna have our feet down, hands here, and we want our feet to pass our hands. What y'all call it? Mobile? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, these are gorillas. Let's see you give it a whirl all the way down. Make sure the butt stays down. Let's do it. If I say if it make you feel better, I'm 41, and I hope you can make it look better than I did. Get your feet past your hands on the outside of your hands. She's like, what that mean? Bring it, let's see it. Keep the butt down. Yeah, yeah. My favorite is head. I call them a chimpanzee. So now when they do these, they're going to have to go in both directions. That way we can work with both sides. So we're going to go hands and then feet. Hands and then feet. Hands and then feet. So now when you get halfway, just lift this way and repeat. Hands first, then feet. Hands, then feet. Good. Chimpanzee. Hands and feet. Halfway, let's get around so we can get the other side. Or out. forward and leg. Should I make y'all do gazelles? That might be a little crazy. Okay, last one. I'll leave y'all alone. These are going to be gazelles. If they can't do this, it's okay. Don't stress. I'll do one so y'all can see it. But you want your kids to have even weight in their hands and in their feet, and they're going to be jumping off the ground with hands and feet at the same time. So now, y'all can come. A lot of y'all see it. Oh, I can do those. They gonna do That's not what we want to see. I want their shoulders pushing and their legs pushing at the same time. So make sure they got even weight and we're pushing. Trying to get a pump in our back as we're jumping. Your kids should be using this position for handsprings, round dogs, whip, all of that. Push to the floor, snap to the feet. She said, oh. Even weight. Get it. Get it. Don't jump forward. We don't want those hands to come too high. Don't pick the chest up, pick the back up. Go ahead, whenever you're ready. I know I made it look easy, technically, they're going to be like here. This is so they can actually get this jump, but they got to jump at the same height as their hand. So the same Are we done at 11:15? All right, guys, that was it for me today.